kid's got a mustache, and he looks good with a mustache. Although, as it gets better, as the mustache grows, so too will my need to make Nigel Thornberry memes. But it's for a good cause, Dan.
I'm gonna do the Josh Lutz sigh.
the signature Josh Lutz sigh. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Welcome back to the Packy Run podcast, guys.
Yes.
We're still here.
Yeah, the day after election day, and we're still, nothing bad happened.
I don't think we saw any riots. I don't think that boarding up businesses and things was entirely necessary. We don't we don't have results. This sucks.
Yeah. So until then, I think we're going to restrain from talking about politics today. I think we're all sick of it. It's everywhere in the news. We're gonna talk about some other things today and not clog up the airways with more BS.
I don't think we're going to necessarily be talking about much happier things, though.
That is true, but I personally like the idea of not clogging up the airways with more of that crap.
Yeah, there's nothing that we're going to say that is like a particularly hot take. You've heard everything that you probably need to hear about this election. So here we are. That,
and also it's all over the news. It's probably going to be all over the news for the next couple weeks.
Social media is just going to be a massive, massive shit show for the time being. So
yeah, I would suggest during this trying time, please take care of yourself. Stay off social media and self-care. Clean your room. Drink plenty of water.
Speaking of, what are you drinking today?
I am drinking Boston tap water, the finest tap water.
I am drinking Brita filtered Nashville tap water because, yeah, I drank enough last night. I'm looking at 6 Miller High Life bottles sitting on my floor next to me that need to be cleaned along with the rest of my room.
Yikes.
I was up until 2 a.m. watching this and hoping that at some point it was going to change, and it just didn't. So here we are.
Yeah, that's where we're at. I went down to my local Packy store, and I was just going to get a tall boy and 2 nips of whiskey. And
instead,
the counter person was like, it's cheaper if you just get 5 of them because 5 for $5. And I was like, I looked at her and I was like, well, it's election night, so might as well. Now, I didn't drink all 5 of those last night. I think,
despite the efforts from your friends to convince you otherwise.
Despite bad peer pressure, I was like, I have to get up tomorrow morning. I have to record this podcast. I have to do research. I have to put dinner on. Because my girlfriend just got a new job, so I'm in charge of cooking dinner. So it is crock-pot meals for the foreseeable future.
You are so domestic.
I mean, you have to. I mean, if you have a crock pot, why not use it? It's great.
I'd like to get a crock pot. I just don't have any space in my kitchen for anything besides what I already have. It's just not, I don't have a convenient place to store it or to put it when it's cooking. I'm not there yet.
Dude, get room.
But I do love me some crock pot meals.
True.
Some of the greatest pulled pork I've ever had. Sat in a crock pot all day with nothing but like a can of A&W root beer poured over it.
True. Oh, just as we are speaking, this will be the last political thing that we ever talk about, but Biden just got Wisconsin, so that's good. That's good news, or whatever news. So
We'll see how it goes.
See how it goes, I guess. But we're both drinking water today. It's the middle of the day, and also I think everyone can agree we all drank a little too much last night for a Tuesday.
I think we all need to hydrate and just tap out from politics for a couple of days. Let the process go. Let them count the things.
Yes.
And in the meantime, we can turn our attention to other things that make us sad, like the New England Patriots.
Yes. So they played the Buffalo Bills last week. It was a close game. It went right down to the wire. We were driving down the field, and Cam Newton fumbled it like on the 11-yard line. So we were 11 yards away from winning. Social media's upset. People are very upset with this team.
The national media has pretty much just written this team off.
Yep. And I'll admit it. I mean, like, if you're on Twitter during the Patriots game, I'm the one that's live tweeting the whole time.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I had some pretty hot takes during that time. I have cooled off a little bit. And I've also done research to back up some of my claims here.
Enlighten us.
So people keep bringing up Cam Newton and how awful he has been this year. This Buffalo game, it was the best game he's had since, I would say, the Seahawks game.
Yeah, he's still got the yips a little bit, but he's like a lot of the form was kind of back. The actual athleticism and stuff that he was showing instead of, I mean, I still think it's pretty obvious if you just look at the film, like he's in his own head.
Oh, absolutely. He's
overthinking everything.
He's definitely still in his own head, but Cam Newton's not the issue with this team. And Bill Belichick admitted to it. He was like, hey, look, we signed Cam Newton for $1 million. We pretty much sold it to like try to win those past couple of Super Bowls and to compete in those Super Bowls. So what would you rather? Us have like a down year and not have those us be still competing but not have those Super Bowl wins, or us have one down year like all those Super Bowl wins?
I mean, I'll definitely take the latter.
Yeah, I'll take the Super Bowls.
Yeah, it's that funny. It's kind of funny to hear Bill talk about it in that way, because one, like, Bill Belichick never talks about specifics ever.
No, he doesn't.
It's always just platitudes and a bunch of the same stuff about work ethic and, doing your job, and we're on to Cincinnati and, name a Bill Belichick saying.
Right.
But it's interesting to have the quiet part said out loud in that way of like, it did read as a little bit of a dig at Tom Brady.
Yeah, it did.
Being like, hey, we pulled together every resource that we possibly could, and we basically just sold out and really, put our cap space in jeopardy trying to build a team around this one guy. Because, I mean, it kind of makes his point too. Look at the situation in Tampa Bay. Like, the only reason why they're having the amount of success that they're having is because they are absolutely just breaking the bank to surround Tom Brady with the absolute greatest possible team that they can.
They're selling out because they're selling out for 2 years to maybe get a Super Bowl.
And they're in a great position to do that, because when was the last time that anybody gave a damn about Tampa Bay? Like, they have the cap space, they have the ability, they have decent coaching staff, they already had a couple of great weapons there. Like, that makes sense. But 2-3 years down the line, that franchise is going to be if they're not in the same position that we're in, I would argue that there's a good chance that they're in a worse position than we're in. Like, they're gonna Tom Brady's gonna leave, or he's gonna retire, and
no surprise
Tampa
there.
Bay is gonna be hurting.
Yeah, and like we did everything to be competing the last couple of years, and you can't complain there. I mean, we have like the 7th most dead cap that we can't do anything with.
Yep. But just sitting there.
And I could argue there has been no team in the NFL that has been hit harder by COVID than the New England Patriots. Between people opting out. We have to shut down our facilities for 2 weeks. Cam and Gilly getting it. This, like, people, I mean, like, I love New England Patriots and I love the fans, but sometimes New England Patriots fans are like the most knee-jerk reaction fans in the NFL and overreaction.
Yeah. And that's just that's a byproduct of people that are,
Used to winning.
that is a byproduct. Yeah. 20 years of being constantly in the competitive discussion, 6 Super Bowl wins, 9 Super Bowl appearances. Like we're damn near playing we've been in almost half of every Super Bowl for the past 20 years.
Yeah, we cannot complain here.
Yeah, but we can complain, I think, about our own organization.
Yes.
I think that we have the right to criticize the organization for putting themselves in this position. And I think that there's a fair amount of that blame that needs to go straight to the top, that needs to go to Robert Kraft. I think that, and we've talked about it before, if nobody knows like the true story and all of the details, but I think it was pretty clear that part of the reason why the Patriots spent themselves into oblivion was because Robert Kraft told his general manager, Bill Belichick, that Tom Brady was our guy and Tom Brady was going to be our guy for as long as Tom Brady wanted to be.
From what I heard, it was Bill wanted to get rid of him. Tom got wind of it. Tom went to Kraft and was like, "You got to do something about this." And Bill was like, "You got to trade Jimmy."
Yep. And we end up where we are now with another couple of Super Bowl rings because of that decision, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But it's really, the cap space thing is a huge issue. And I think it's also this year, I think everybody was a little bit too confident, us included, going into this year because one, we're so used to winning. And two, I think most of the smart, people that understand this game really, really wanted to believe that it was our coaching staff that had done I would say a majority of the heavy lifting to get us all those Super Bowls.
We'll get to.
And now we're kind of seeing.
I want to get to that point, or about our coaching staff.
I think we're at that point. I think we're at that point where it's like, well, maybe this coaching staff isn't everything we thought it was.
I would agree with that. And I think one of the big underlying factors that a lot of people aren't talking about is Dante Starnecchia retiring. He's not there anymore. We had some of the best offensive lines with like him coaching when we were winning all those Super Bowls, when we had an impact. Our offensive line is not doing a good enough job creating holes for our running backs and also giving Cam enough time to sit back there and throw.
And and that problem, again, like all of these problems are just exacerbated by the pandemic and by
also
all the different.
Also, Cam Newton is in a new system. He's been in the same system for 10 years. Like, can we cut him a little bit of slack? I'm tired of all this Cam hate. I like Cam.
Yeah.
Like, let's give him some slack. Like,
brand new system, no preseason, COVID issues, constant kind of back and forth between, who's injured, who do we have for weapons.
He's coming off injuries too.
Yeah, everybody around him is kind of like, when we have the conversations about, our offensive weapons, everybody that we have outside of like Edelman is pretty young.
Yeah, we just got a new weapon in God, I forget his name. That I was like tweeting about him yesterday. No, we traded like a 7th for him, but like we got him from like the Dolphins, but like he's supposed to apparently be the Edelman replacement from what it looks like.
Yeah, Isaiah Ford is, it's interesting, and it's very, again, kind of classic Patriots for them to just go, and there was a lot of talk about celebrities and stars that we could kind of be bringing into this organization, and we go with this guy. We bring in, who'd we bring in? Was it a defensive tackle that we brought over from Tennessee?
I don't know, but like we don't have any money. We can't go after anyone. Like,
yeah, we can't.
We just don't have the cap space. We just don't have. Also, like, if we're in rebuild mode, why would we want to give up a second or even a first round draft pick at that point?
Yeah, and I think that's part of the reason. When you do the math that way, that's part of the reason why we still have Stephon Gilmore. Is like he's the reigning defensive player of the year. if we were going to get rid of him, we needed to get something huge.
Yeah, we needed.
And the rumor was that they were asking for a first round pick and a player.
Which that's not that outrageous.
It's not that outrageous, but it's also you look at every other team in the NFL, and I'm sure that he would have played great for anybody, and he was probably an interesting prospect for a lot of those teams. But at the end of the day, I don't think anybody really wants to give up that much for Gilmore, who is going to be probably not Defensive Player of the Year again, and is probably a couple short years away from being towards the end of his career. So
yeah, I mean, he is definitely worth that price, though. I mean, Jalen Ramsey, who's currently on the Los Angeles Rams, when he got traded from Jacksonville Jaguars, they gave the Jacksonville Jaguars 2 first-round picks.
Yeah,
if the shoe fits,
exactly,
that's what it is.
But I'm really glad that they didn't. I'm really glad that all those rumors about a fire sale just never happened. Instead, it was just really quiet.
Yeah, we got a weapon. Hopefully it works out, and I'm excited to see what we see from Isaiah Ford.
I will say right off the bat, though, that whole trade does kind of strike me as a Mohamed Sanu situation again, where it's okay, we got a Band-Aid.
But here's the thing, though.
Hopefully this works.
But the thing is, Mohamed Sanu, we gave up a second-round pick. That's a pretty valuable pick. We gave up a future 7th. We don't even know.
Yeah, not even this coming year. It's the next year.
Yeah, it's a future 7th round pick. That person could be nothing.
Or they could be something.
It could be something, but I don't know.
Doubt it.
I doubt it too. Now, the reason we lost this game was not because of Cam Newton. Sure, Cam Newton did fumble it towards the end. However, we should have never been in that position in the first place. If we're going to play the blame game here, Josh McDaniels is the person to blame. And I don't see enough people looking in and blaming him for how the Patriots offense has been so far.
He's just the offensive schemes that we've seen, especially the past probably 4 weeks, have just been so conservative, and there's not a lot of imagination going. You finally have a mobile quarterback. You have there's a lot of athleticism going on the Patriots offense, but the schemes are just not there.
Yeah, I think it is damning how poor it has been, and he should be held accountable. Not Cam Newton. Josh McDaniels needs to be held accountable. And in the years that I'm looking, I've done a little bit of research in on him. In the years that he has not been with Tom Brady, so in 2008 when Tom Brady went down with the ACL tear, he was 6th in points, 6th in yards. He was 8th in points and 5th in yards. But there's an asterisk with this season. We had Randy Moss. We had Wes Welker. It was the 2007 Patriots, essentially, without Tom Brady. Just Matt Castle playing quarterback. So that one is an outlier in this one. He then went on to be the head coach of the Denver Broncos. Okay, what did he do? And keep in mind, he didn't have a quarterback as talented as Tom Brady. As far as 2009 with the Denver Broncos, he had Kyle Orton. Not that good, but he was all right, and they ended up going 8-8 that season. 15th in yards, 20th in points scored. That's not good. If you tell
that just tells me that they had an easy season that year.
Yeah, or
an easy schedule.
And from it looks like their defense carried them that year. Now 2010, Broncos go 4-12. Josh McDaniels is fired at the end of the season and had Kyle Orton as his quarterback again. Again, not that talented of a quarterback, but 13th in yards, 19th in points. That's terrible. That is not good.
That's not good.
St. Louis, very next season, he's offensive coordinator for the Rams. St. Louis Rams, excuse me. They were 31st in yards and 32nd in points scored. This is considered one of the worst teams ever in the past decade. They went 12-14 that year, splitting time between a rookie quarterback in Sam Bradford and a collection of dudes. Just dudes. Now,
Just dudes being guys.
yeah, just guys being dudes, dudes being guys. This is damning. And yeah, he didn't have a Pro Bowl quarterback. He didn't have an MVP quarterback. But does Josh McDaniels actually have it in him to be a coach? Coach someone other than Tom Brady.
And that's kind of my thought process there is, okay, I do think that Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. I think that Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time because having him on your team is having an offensive coordinator that's playing the game in real time.
He is.
You can see it. You can see it down in Tampa Bay. You saw it for years with the Patriots. Tom is making manipulations right up until that ball is snapped, and he is playing the chess game while he is also one of the chess pieces. Him and Josh McDaniels had all of that success, I think, because of that fact. Because Josh McDaniels could make the play calling, but Brady could read what was happening right in front of his eyes and make the manipulation 5 seconds before the ball was in his hand. And now we've got Cam Newton, who I would argue in a lot of ways I would argue I don't think it's a hot take to say that Cam Newton is a better athlete than Tom Brady overall.
That's not a hot take at all.
So you have somebody who's more of an athlete who has the potential to, especially in this system, the way that we've known it for 20 years, you have a better athlete who has the ability to learn that and could benefit from some of the fundamentals that he would learn in this system. And now we're at the position where we're at in the season, and we're looking at this team and being like, something's not right. Something's not clicking. And then you just go back and you watch highlights from the games and you watch it in real time when it's on your TV, and it's like there's coaching errors everywhere. We can't seem to get out of our own way half the time. Like we're beating ourselves, and when you're beating yourself, I think a lot of the times that's not necessarily the player's fault.
Yeah, and I mean, the amount of offensive penalties, holding, false starts, like illegal hands to the face, like, yeah, those penalties happen sometimes. Not the pre-snap ones, like the false start. Those, we never see those. That was like, if anything in this Sunday's game, it proved that Buffalo isn't a real contender, and we're not that much worse than Buffalo.
Yeah, and like one of the kind of silver linings of this season so far has been that kind of situation, though. Like the one of the big things that can, even I think a lot of the fair weather Patriots fans can kind of get a little bit excited about is, there's so much talk about, it's the downfall of the dynasty, and maybe the Patriots just don't have it anymore if they don't have Tom Brady and everything else. And then you look at every game that we've played this season, and I mean, the Broncos loss was unacceptable. But outside of that, we've really just kind of exposed every other team that we've played. Like the Seahawks, we are a definitively worse team than the Seahawks. We are a definitively worse team than the Kansas City Chiefs. And yet we're going up against them and
we're close.
They're still struggling. Yeah. We're not getting blown out.
The thing is, except for the 49ers game is the only game that I sit back and I'm like, that.
Oh, the 49ers game, not the Broncos game. I apologize.
Like the 49ers game was the one game that that was embarrassing, but we were one play away from winning against the Seahawks. One play, we were essentially let's say two plays away from beating Buffalo. Actually, we don't even know. We were at least 2 plays away from tying Buffalo last Sunday.
Yep.
Without I'm trying to think, we played the Chiefs pretty close. That game was closer than what the score will tell you, and also what the box score will tell you.
And closer still when you consider the fact that, Brian Hoyer gave that game away.
Yes.
And Jarrett Stidham came into bat cleanup and just couldn't get anything going. Like we didn't even have our QB number 1, and we still managed to, stand tough against them, I guess.
Yeah. The Broncos game, I mean, the Broncos almost they kept giving us opportunities, and and that was a very frustrating game to watch because we were like beating ourselves up.
Yep.
That was a bad game. But I mean, we're like 2-5 right now.
Yeah.
So like we could easily have theoretically you could flip that record very easily.
And I think we could. I don't think it'll be easy, but I think that it's very possible that, you know, we get ourselves a weapon. We give our guys a little bit of time to get healthy. You know, we're playing the Jets next week. I'm not really concerned about it. There's a pretty easy win for us because they can't get out of their own way at all.
Yeah.
Like we could very easily, you know, it's basically this Jets game coming up almost feels like a preseason game.
It's a tune-up game.
Let's just get out there, pull in a win, work on our fundamentals, and then just on to the next one. I think this could again, not easily, but it could realistically be turned around, and you know, another month and a half from now we could be sitting back and talking about what playoff pictures look like and stuff.
It can get us into a rhythm for sure. And like, I mean, our defense didn't play this Sunday either. Chase Winovich has been not on the field, but we did see
at all.
Yeah, at all. We did see his former, I guess now like teammate, because they were teammates at Michigan, but now they're teammates again, out there for the first time this season. And he made some big plays. Yeah. He made some big time plays. So love to see that. Bill Belichick hates rookies.
Yep.
So we'll probably not see much of anyone. But I mean, like, also like Bentley has been missing assignments this year. He missed like a bunch of tackles. Like we had some of the worst tackling.
Oh, just absolutely whiffed some of them that were just like, again, like I said, we keep kind of playing ourselves a little bit when it comes to little fundamental things like that. Like you can just hear the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme sometimes watching them go after a quarterback.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, you can.
A couple of times during the 49ers game when Jimmy Garoppolo was able to slip through something. It's like, really? Like, I love Jimmy G, but he's an easier quarterback to tackle than I think a lot of people give him credit for, and we couldn't make that happen. Like, really?
Yeah, I know. We gotta relax with how the Patriots have been bad this year. They're not as bad as what everyone is saying.
They're not great, but they've got, you know, we've got bits and pieces. We've got, you know, it's an off-year Patriots team.
Yeah.
We don't have all the weapons. We're not healthy. We're not at the top of our game, but I think we're just kind of beating ourselves a lot of the time. And like I said, when the team is beating itself, it's time to start looking at the coaches and not necessarily the players.
Yeah, and we saw repeatedly this Sunday, like last Sunday, it would be like 3rd and 8, 3rd and long. And running back draw play. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Brutal.
Like, why are we running it there? Yeah, it worked once with Rex Burkhead. Once. Yeah. But, like, I don't know. Good game.
Although I like the and this is probably a hot take. I liked the onside kick attempt.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's classic Belichick kind of trickery.
Yeah, it was, you know, you're not necessarily expecting it. It's probably just going to be a regular return, and oh, wait a minute, they're trying to actually go for it. They're trying to put the nail in the coffin of this game. You know, that's the kind of thing that's indicative. That and the fact that we got to the trading deadline, we made 2 moves. Neither of them were, you know, blockbuster, like huge moves. We got ourselves a receiver and got ourselves somebody from the Titans. I got to look it up. But yeah, Bill's not tanking. We're not tanking for Trevor in New England. It's just not happening.
We're not trying to get Trevor Lawrence here.
There's a belief that we've got a lot of the pieces that we do actually need already on this squad. We just gotta, again, that makes you kind of sit back though and go, well, then what are we going to do about this coaching? Because especially on the offensive side of the ball, past few weeks have just felt like you're getting a root canal.
Yeah, like the wheels have just been spinning. Like you're stuck in a ditch and the wheels are just stuck in the mud. That's what it feels like. it's boring. Like, I thought this was going to be an exciting offense to watch. Cam Newton, but nope.
And it was for 2 games.
I mean, there were some parts last week, like, it was exciting, but damn it, Josh, stop with the draw plays.
Yeah.
Like, you really think that after the 20th time, it's going to work. Yes, I know you have to run the ball to keep the defense from, like, keep them off. You have to keep running it, but we gotta do better at that. There needs to be a balance.
Yep. So we're on to New York. The Jets will be hopefully an easy win and a nice little reset, and we go forward, which feels like what we've been saying for the past month.
Yeah.
It's an interesting time to be a Boston sports fan.
Yeah, well, we sold out to win those Super Bowls and get Tom the win.
Well, at least the Red Sox are talking to Alex Cora.
I know, again, really?
Again, we're trying to relive the glory days in so many different ways.
Why don't they relive the glory days and actually sign important players and not get rid of them?
Yeah, and then let them win.
Yeah, and
then let them win a World Series.
Yeah, thanks for nothing. Thanks for nothing.
You gave away probably one of the most interesting MLB players out there right now.
Yeah.
Gave him away to your enemies in the West, and what do? They turn around and they win a World Series.
Whatever. So
whatever.
Onto the Jets. If we struggle against this team, I think it's time to just give up.
Yeah, if we struggle this game, I think we're gonna continue to be competitive. We're gonna continue to do things week after week. If we lose this game, though, I think that's when I won't like it, but I'll understand talks about moving on from Cam. But if we struggle against the Jets, I think it's open season on the coaching staff.
Yep, I would agree with that. All right, let's move on to more or less more happy topics. I guess it's not happy.
Kind of.
It's happy for us to talk about, but it's kind of dark content.
Definitely.
So instead of doing our typical, as I get an email and I put that up on my phone, we are not doing our typical Does It Hold Up? We've done quite a bit of those, where we review an album and answer the question, does it hold up? If you want to listen to last week's episode, we did Linkin Park.
Hybrid Theory.
This week, it's a little different. One of our favorite bands, Touché Amoré.
For a long time.
They put out a new record just last month called Lament. And we thought it would be a good idea to kind of compare and contrast their current record with what they did with their first record, which is
over 10 years ago.
Yeah, over 10 years ago, which we're both pretty familiar with this band's discography. And their first record is To the Beat of a Dead Horse. So we're going to look at a few songs here and just talk about them. We're not going to go through track by track like we usually do. We're just going to give some of our highlights.
Yeah, just switch it up a little. I thought it would be cool to start the conversation by talking about both of these records, the newest one and their oldest one. Well, actually, not their oldest one, because their first record, I guess, it's more of an EP, but they had a self-titled that came out on No Sleep Records.
Yeah,
which was 8 songs. Some of them ended up on the first record, on To the Beat of a Dead Horse. But this is kind of, I guess it's as good a place as any to start by saying that this band is kind of like a masterclass in taking a hardcore band and making it an actual career.
Yeah, I mean, they are a mainstream act.
Yeah, they play huge festivals. They're not, you're not really hearing much of them on the radio besides, Sirius XM play every once in a while. And they started in that very aggressive, almost thrashy, traditional emo kind of screamo kind of hardcore. They were part of The Wave with Make Do and Mend and Pianos Become the Teeth and La Dispute, The Casket Lottery.
Yeah.
They were part of that, really kind of spearheaded the emo revival with a lot of the like emotive hardcore kind of elements. And they've continued to just become. They went from being the band with like the minute and a half long songs to there's like vocal melodies now from Jeremy Boehm, their vocalist. They really kind of, like every hardcore band that has kind of transitioned more and more away from hardcore, they've discovered a lot of like shoegaze and post-rock experimental kind of sounds. And I think they really kind of knocked it out of the park on the newest one. Lament definitely has those moments. It's got a couple of features, one of which we're definitely going to talk about. Mm-hmm. Like they've grown that sound while still being definitively like an aggressive band. I wouldn't call them heavy now.
It's hard to describe. I mean, if I had to describe it to somebody who doesn't listen to a lot of this type of music, I would describe it as just punk.
Yeah.
Just in the broadest sense. I hate to use the word normie, but like a normie.
Yeah. It's very, so the new album is, it is just like, it's like experimental punk, I guess you could call it.
But it doesn't get weird at points. It's very well thought out, and it's not, you get different flavors of it.
Yeah. As opposed to the beat of a dead horse, which is just straight up like aggressive thrash, like melodic hardcore elements.
At times,
very
one note.
Yeah,
which I hate. But like it's a good one note.
Yeah, they do their thing and they do it really well. And there's just to the beat of a dead horse has zero like filler. There's no room for filler, especially when they're writing like minute and a half, 2 minute long songs that are just gone in an instant. Like they really kind of, they had their sound. They knew what their sound was. They didn't play around with that sound very much. It was just, here's whatever it is, 10 or 12 tracks of just like straight up in your face punk music.
Yeah.
Yeah. 11 tracks. And I think
was it clock in at like 15 minutes?
Just under 20 minutes. Yeah.
Wow. One of the things I like that they did with this record, To the Beat of a Dead Horse, is actually last year, and I didn't know this, they put out Dead Horse X, which they basically re-recorded the whole album and put it out. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Personally, and this is just my take on that record, or that latest version of this record, I prefer the old version of it. I like the rawness. I'm also more nostalgic to it probably, so I'm probably a little biased towards it, but the new recordings sound to me like they decided to go to Audio Tree and record it, and it's a live recording.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me, and for those folks who don't know what Audio Tree is, it's this website or this stream. You can find them on YouTube, and they'll like have bands come in and they play like a studio set and they record it, and half the proceeds go to them and half of it goes towards the band. So that's pretty cool.
And some of those Audio Tree sets have versions of songs that are just like, that are superior to the originals.
Yeah.
Like they do a really good job. The engineering team at Audio Tree just kills it every time. But yeah, I can completely see how the 10th anniversary of Dead Horse, like, yeah, it definitely has that Audio Tree like feeling to it.
That's what it feels like to me, and I think, and like we've talked about this, where we've talked about like how an album doesn't sound particularly good, or different parts of it, or like the mix. Like, for example, with like To Tell All Your Friends, there were parts in that record where you were like, nope, no amount of like revision is good. But this record, the beauty of it is it's raw, emotional, and I think that's like that's what makes it good. It doesn't need, the new version of that record sounds too glossy and crisp to me.
Yeah, this To the Beat of a Dead Horse came out in 2009, and it
sounds good.
Like the fact it does, and it sounds good for exactly what it is, and I think that's kind of the point. Is this is you're spending less than 20 minutes, you're listening to 11 songs, so you just get absolutely thrown through the ringer, and it's all about that aggression and that grit, and most of that comes directly from the songwriting, but the other half of that is a direct result of, it sounds like a hardcore demo.
Yeah.
Like, it's not particularly well produced, I wouldn't say, but the fact that the production is so gritty and just so like cobbled together, it gives you that sound of this is this band's first album. And I like the way that kind of starts the progression to where this band is now, where they went from that really thrashy, really gritty, straight to the point, no real pop songwriting skills at all, it's just these poems.
Yeah.
11 poems that you just get thrown right through with guitars under them.
The punk
and now
ethos.
We're at the point where now you're still getting a lot of that same feeling from, better instrumentation and more production value and everything else. This band has found these ways to sound like Touché Amoré no matter what, but without repeating themselves.
Yeah, that is very true. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of it all.
Let's do it.
All right. So one of the first, we always talk about opening tracks here. We both chose opening tracks from the two records. Should I hop in, or do you want to go first with the one from Lament?
I'll let you start with the beginning of To the Beat of a Dead Horse.
All right. So and now it's happening in mine. First off, that song title is way too long. Why?
Because it was 2009 and Fall Out Boy was doing that even worse at the time. So.
That is such a bad trend. Why was that? No.
I'm like a lawyer the way that I'm always trying to get you off. Parentheses, me and you. Oh, God. Someone slap Pete Wentz for that one.
So the claps, the claps at the beginning are iconic. And in a way, it's kind of, it's clapping to like when you first see like something like a band or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you see them and you're like cheering along. So it's kind of like that. I mean, it just kind of just jumps right in. It hits hard, like especially right after the clapping. I will say they don't really do much explaining. It's a quick punk song. It's very much like, yeah, this is how it is. Like bing, bom, boom, bom.
I love the on this particular song, the kind of middle part. I'll go to Morrissey to answer my questions because Ian Curtis has left me hanging.
Yeah.
Great little bit of wordplay there. And also it's so funny because it's such just old, like retreaded ground, like dudes in hardcore and punk bands really like the Smiths and the Cure and Joy Division, and
which I've never understood.
I get it because I like those bands too. I don't get what it is. I don't get the common, I don't follow the thread from the Smiths to Touché Amoré. But I do like that, like the first song on this band's first full-length album, it's immediately just like, and there's the Morrissey reference.
I mean, not a lot of hardcore bands were even doing that back in the day, but
I like the fact it's almost like watching a movie, and then like within the first 20 minutes of the movie, one of the main characters says the title of the movie during their dialogue. It's just kind of like, oh, yep, roll credits. That's how it feels when Jeremy starts saying, I'll go to Morrissey to answer my questions. Like, and there's the Morrissey reference. Cool.
Yeah.
We're done.
Wrap it up, boys. Wrap it up.
Wrap it up. We've already hit the mark. We've hit the quota. We're good.
That's it. Jeremy's vocals on the older version, I think, has more emotion than the newer version. And I think part of that has to do with he probably had to change the way that he sings between like then and now, because you can't keep screaming the way that you used to. Like that's a bad thing to damage your vocal cords.
And you can hear it when the guy talks. Like he's clearly like there's so much of a rasp in his voice to begin with, which again it really works for this kind of like emotive kind of hardcore music. Like you're just screaming to be heard over your band.
Yeah.
In these situations, and especially in live situations. So that's a really great way to kind of communicate those feelings. But yeah, anytime anybody talks about, screaming in music, reviewers are always talking about like, oh, the throat shredding vocals from this guy or whatever.
Yeah.
This is one of the perfect examples of like, this would be when you would use that term. Like you can hear that he is damaging his voice.
Yeah. And I mean, he has permanent damage at this point.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you hear it in the newer version of all the songs from this record, and including the newer record. But I think his vocals are punchier in the older version. But to that caveat, it's because he still had a good voice. As far as structure goes, it is pretty much poetry. It is not, in the newer songs, there's more structure. This one, I'm just gonna tell you how I feel, and there you go, and here's a part that we'll sing over and over again.
Yeah, it's like this band's older music is so much just, here's the thought that's in my head. It's almost like if a band got up and, how sometimes like a vocalist will be like, this song is about, this thing that I went through like back in the day or whatever, and then they go ahead and they play the song, and every once in a while they'll do that, or they'll say it in an interview, and then you'll read the lyrics or you'll listen to the song and you'll be like, I don't get what you're talking about there, buddy.
Yeah.
This song is like doing that and then just like going to the next song. Like, this song is about this. This next song is about this. It's to the point, like to a fault.
Right.
But it's kind of like, it's endearing in that way though. So I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
So I think I'll from there, unless you have any other thoughts that you wanted to drop, I think we can move on to the title track of Lament, or not the title track, the first track.
Yeah. Come Heroin.
Come Heroin, which is, if you follow this band, if you kind of follow the bouncing ball from each album and each EP, you can follow how they gradually got to this sound. If you just listened to the first song on Dead Horse and then jumped straight into Come Heroin, it would be hard to believe that it's the same band.
Yeah, I would agree.
It still has those hallmarks of aggressive music. Like it still has the guitars, and the drummer for Touché Amoré, Elliot Babin, he's one of the best drummers. He's regarded that way by like a bunch of this band's contemporaries too. Run for Cover Records used to do basically a spotlight series on YouTube with all these different musicians in this kind of scene, and it's like Elliot from Touché Amoré and David from Pianos Become the Teeth. People were like, those guys are just unreal, and it's true. It checks out here as well. This is a band that's like, it's funny because they kind of went for it, I think, on the last album a little bit more. There was a little bit more singing, there was a little bit more like instrumentation and songwriting skill that went into their last album, Stage 4.
Right.
And then this one, it was produced by Ross Robinson, who has worked with just absolutely massive bands in like the rock scene. I believe he did the first Slipknot album, so he's no stranger to
like aggressive,
more like aggressive kind of music. But he does they're doing a really good job of still kind of using that poetry kind of deal that they used to use, but now really kind of letting that poetry breathe and coming back to certain lyrics and playing with the chorus, structure of a pop song. And it's also kind of it's kind of a love song. Yeah. Which is different.
In a like a weird way. It overall like sets the album up of like what we're going to see from this record. And I mean, like, Jeremy Bull, he has had his fair share of things that he has been dealing with, like with his mother passing away. That was what Stage 4 was very emotionally about. Like he was all over social media in the lead up to this album as well. Jeremy had 2 dogs, I believe. One or both of them passed away. He ended up moving. There was a lot of kind of back
back and forth and those kind of things, but this one seems pretty clearly to be like a little bit of a message to the person you love. You know, the whole idea of you brought me in, you took me and reversed the atrophy. You did so unknowingly, and now I'm undone. Yeah. He, like, where this band used to be like just a hardcore band where everything was, you know, just spitting out anger and kind of throwing the mud. And then they're like the middle of their discography, their third album, Is Survived By, was kind of, you know, it wasn't so much anger, it was just kind of like getting your anxieties out and things like that. Yeah. And now we're at the point where it's a little bit more like writing about your life and processing life events through the lens of music. And that's what this song in particular does, and kind of just sets up that theme for so much of the rest of this album. Yeah. And we see a lot of it. We see a lot of loss. We see a lot of emotion in this. And like Jeremy does a really good job of conveying his feelings in it. Now, would you say, in the context of this record, would you say he does a better job expressing his feelings than in this Lament than in To the Beat of a Dead Horse? I would actually say no, just because this album has more kind of room for interpretation, I guess. There's so much more layering, both instrumentally and with like the lyrics and the performances, that make it so it's not quite as to the point. It's a little bit more up to the listener to take from it what they're going to get. Obviously there are like common themes here, but right. I think one of the reasons why To the Beat of a Dead Horse still holds up so well as something, even though it's something that you could pretty easily write off as just another like thrashy hardcore record, it's like To the Beat of a Dead Horse is so to the point. Yeah. That, you know, it one of its big strengths is just the fact that you hear those songs and you just know exactly what this is about. That is true. But Come Here and good beginning of the record as well. Yeah, solid first tracks. Yeah, I think they do a very good job of setting up an album, and we see that in the other albums as well, but that has never been lost on them. Yeah, their pacing has always been really good with how they actually put together their albums, whether it's this one, which is the better part of an hour, I believe, or To the Beat of a Dead Horse, where, you know, they're both 11 songs, but To the Beat of a Dead Horse is less than 20 minutes long. Yeah. But it's still like you can follow the progression, and each song kind of plays off the ones on either side of it. So it's 2 for 2 as far as opening tracks go. And I think that trend kind of continues with their other 3 full-length albums. So true. Good on them. Let's move forward to On a Sleep, which is off of To the Beat of a Dead Horse. That's the second track off of it. And now it's happening in mine. It kind of like transitions right into On a Sleep. That's the hit of that song, or that album. Yep. This is one of the longer songs on To the Beat of a Dead Horse. It originally came out on the self-titled EP that came out the year before this album. And it was actually the closer on the EP. And here it just launches in as track number 2, which is usually, you know, like, especially in a lot of 80s and 90s albums, track 2 was the hit. Yeah. Track 2 was the single. That's like a very common thing. So it's fitting that that's where this stands here. It's very, again, like, it's almost to a fault. It's just to the point. Like the first verse, I speak in sarcasm to relate to all things I appreciate. I lie in rhythm to open doors. I follow suit and just want more. My reputation is the same it's been, and I don't care what happens. I read the book, so I know the end. Like, clearly it's just a dude that's kind of grappling with the fact that he wants to play in hardcore bands, and he wants that to be his kind of thing. And he is struggling with the realities of what that looks like. Yeah. This song hits so hard. I mean, and that outro is like really well done. This is like one of the only 3-minute songs that the band really released up until kind of later in their career. And it's just a shout along. Like, it's designed to be a live song. It's a hardcore song that has like, it's almost like a mosh call, but it's more of just an outro, like a group, like gang vocal sing along kind of deal. Just, I'm losing sleep. I'm losing friends. I've got a love, hate, love with the city I'm in. I'll count the hours, having just one wish. If I'm doing fine, there's no point to this.
Yeah, like that is kind of, it's the sing-along. It's a sing-along song. It's the song to get all the kids to try to sing along to. And it's a staple of any live show that they do. I've never seen a Touché Amoré live, but they put out a live record, like 10 years, 1,000 shows, and this is clearly their
signature.
Well, what's the last song that like a band plays?
Oh, like the closer?
Not the closer. Encore.
The encore?
You see, I haven't been to a gig in 8 months, so I'm like,
I forgot what live music is like.
I forgot what live music is like, but it is the part of the encore, which that makes sense. That is an encore song to play.
Yep.
Have you seen this band?
I have. I've seen them twice. I feel like I saw them once in Connecticut. I'm pretty sure that they played in Danbury. Where was the Heirloom Arts Theater?
Yeah, that was Danbury.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I saw them there, and I also saw them. They did a pretty big tour with Tiger's Jaw, so I saw them in Rhode Island on that tour. Yeah, it's a lot of energy. It's a hardcore show, no barriers, kids jumping around. It's and when they play this song, the place just goes nuts.
Yeah, I love.
And it's also interesting. I find it interesting the introspection of that sing along at the end. If I'm doing fine, there's no point to this, because that's a theme that the band has touched on more than a couple of times. On this album, on pretty much all of their albums, is that idea of being like a songwriter and being scared about like, well, if I'm doing okay, like what do I have to write about? That like artist misery kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's funny how that's already being touched on right off the bat for this band.
That is pretty funny. I love the heavy part where it's like I've probably said too much, but I've never felt more accomplished.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my favorite part of this song, not the chorus or the sing along part. I just like that section right there.
Yeah, they're just it's so to the point and so knows what it is, what it's doing, what the goal is here. It's like that's why this band has had the career that they've had.
Yeah.
Is doing songwriting like this, and the way that they've been able to expand that songwriting past just being like, here's 2 minutes of just straight up in your face music into more of an artistic kind of medium is it's just super impressive. Yeah,
and I think compared to the contemporary hardcore bands of that time, and I know a lot of them, like they don't write like this. They still don't write like this. There's a lot of hardcore bands from this era that they were writing the same record every single time. This band is not afraid to expand on those ideas and try to push themselves, because there's only so many ways that you can say like, I'm sad, I'm angry.
Yep.
There are only so many ways that you can write a song about being sad and depressed and everything like that. And they continuously find new themes and new things to explore that.
Exactly.
And it's why
So what's next?
What is next? We are going to go with one of the songs that you picked, which is Limelight.
So I was so excited. Basically, this song got introduced to people that had bought, I think it was the 10-year anniversary record, 10 years, 1,000 shows or whatever. Basically, what this band did was they looked at their mailing list for some sort of like special one-off like donation-based record that they had done, and they started sending out a flexi single for this song, and it features Andy Hull from Manchester Orchestra, which is cool because one of this band's best songs off of their album is Survived By references Andy, because Jeremy and Andy are friends, and they have a song called Touché Amoré has a song called To Write Content, which is talking about what we were just talking about, that idea of like, well, like if I'm doing okay, if I'm feeling content and stuff, and I've made a career out of making songs about like my misery and my anxieties and everything else, like how do I continue to have a career if I'm doing okay? And this song seems like kind of a response to that, and the fact that Andy like gets involved with it is kind of cool. I think it feels a little like mishmashed. The transition isn't all that like well done, I'll say. But by the time, so when Andy initially comes in, it is kind of like it's a very quick like transition into almost a new song, but that back half ends up becoming really, really awesome. It's just, it's a great, like, it has those aggressive music elements in it, but it never quite goes to like straight up hardcore or particularly thrashy, but you can still hear and understand that like, okay, this is a hardcore band that wrote this song.
Yeah, I mean, it's when I think Andy Hall from Manchester Orchestra, I don't think hardcore. When I think of Andy Hall, I think of like alternative music for sure. Like, yeah, I'm struggling genre wise what to pin him down as, what to pin Manchester Orchestra down as. Like
they're just like a rock band.
Yeah,
but they do rock in such an interesting way.
They remind me of a more evolved Balanced Composure.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect example of like just like really smart, really, really inventive kind of songwriting for a 5-piece rock band.
Yeah. So in that case, and it's different. And you wouldn't expect this kind of feature from Touché Amoré. I feel like, at least, like, yeah, they're friends with like a lot of bands. Like it's like if Bree from Tiger's Jaw was in this like in a song with them.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they're friends, but does it actually does it work? Does it work?
Yeah. So this song kind of retreads old ground a little bit with like the refrain at the end of the song just repeating, so let's embrace the twilight while burning out the limelight, like over and over again. But I do like the like intertwining. It's not dueling vocals the way that you got like we would talk about in the Taking Back Sunday podcast and things like that.
Yeah.
They really just kind of layer Andy and Jeremy on top of each other, and that works immensely well.
Yeah.
It's just it's got, like I said, it's got all that energy of like an aggressive song, but it's much more kind of restrained, and it's again with like the honesty and the talking about your life itself and being more introspective than just like pointing the fingers and being like, I'm big mad, the way that this band and so many other hardcore and emo and screamo bands were before them.
It's introspective. And there's one particular line, it's like, we poured ourselves in these sweet white dying dogs. That's kind of a callback to Jeremy's dogs that passed away in the recent months.
Yeah, and that's like one of that's a pain that I'm not personally familiar with, but man, I don't want to go through that. Like the idea, animals make me incredibly sad sometimes for that exact reason of like, when you have a dog, you are that dog's caretaker, ideally from beginning to end.
Yeah. And
that's such a tough thing to watch, especially with people that consider themselves kind of like parents to their animals. Mm-hmm. That's just got to be so painful. People say that, a mother shouldn't have to bury her son, right? Like, and if you feel that strongly about this little animal that is just like dogs, which are just beings of pure love,
like all they want is food and like
they want food, naps,
and belly rubs
to just like be with you.
Yeah.
They just so many dogs that I have had and that I have encountered in my life are just like I said, they're just these pure little beings of love. And to lose something like that, like there needs to be more "My Dog Died" songs.
Yeah, but actually, no, I don't want to hear those.
It's so sad to think about. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on to the next one, which is this song will be from To the Beat of a Dead Horse. Audix? That is the last song on this record. Is that how you pronounce it?
I forget. I've been following along on Genius here, so I'm trying to find. Because I'm bad with remembering all of these. All right, it is adieu.
Adieu.
Like I bid you adieu.
I bid you adieu. Adieu. Very short, to the point. That's kind of a theme with this record. This is probably the best one that recently got recorded. I like the newer version better than the older version. I think the drums sound way more crisp, and I think Jeremy's vocal range works more on this song. It's also at a faster pace. It sounds like. It's still part of their live set, still kind of a staple in there, and it kind of teases you at the beginning with sounds like, oh, it sounds like a pop punk song, and then it goes back to like this heavy, kind of like a breakdown, but in a weird way, it's like not a breakdown. One of the best lines from this, or one of the best stanza, was, "I was not born with a strong voice. It's never been one to boom, but I'll be damned to go out quiet if it's the only thing I lose." And in this, it's kind of like Jeremy metaphorically and lyrically, like his voice, he wants to be heard and to put the anxiety and hesitation away with this album.
I like the theme of this song too, or I almost struggle to call these ones songs because it's just so short. We're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Yeah, it's 8 lines and then the song's over.
Yeah, pretty hard.
But I like how it starts. 12:31. I've counted down the days till I could wave goodbye to that early grave, and then 1:1. The weather hasn't changed, but the story's over. It's time to turn the page. That kind of weird thing that happens on New Year's Eve, 12:31, where everybody's just kind of like nostalgic a little bit, but also ready to just like throw the year that just happened away. Especially in a year like this year, like I think people are gonna go pretty hard for New Year's in whatever way they can.
Yeah,
and then that idea of the next morning waking up and being like, the weather's still the same, like we're still here. And it's also kind of fitting talking about this on the day after election day too.
That is it kind of
applies there as well. That idea that like you wake up the next morning, and even if we had woken up this morning and we had found out definitively which one of the two candidates was going to be the president, like I would argue that 90% of us are basically just in the same boat that we were in 24 hours ago.
Yeah, pretty much, more or less.
Like the sun's still shining. The weather is still the way that the weather has been. It's, you know.
But this is, as far as a closer goes, this is a good one. They're, like we mentioned earlier, they're really good at pacing, and they really know. You could see even then they knew how to put together an album and where to put certain songs.
Yeah, how to kind of synchronize it and make, you know, even if the songs are loosely attached to each other, some of them are dealing with radically different kind of subject matter. That idea of it continuing to grow as it goes, and there is like a little bit of narrative structure there. This band does that kind of thing really, really well.
Yeah. So moving on, this will be the last song that we end up talking about for the day. So this is going to be a shorter episode. No 2-hour episodes this week.
I think we've all got a lot of other stuff that we also need to be paying attention to. So
yes. So next one that we're going to talk about is a forecast, and right off the bat, this is a definitive closer. This was the way it was written. It was, this isn't going to go anywhere else. This is the closer for sure. Especially with the line like, I had it just now.
Is it the last lines?
Yeah, it's like
on the song.
No, well, no.
Yeah, so
it's not the what?
No, go ahead.
No, what were you gonna say?
I do like the last 4 lines of this are just, it's very tongue in cheek, but also like kind of endearing how tongue in cheek and how just blatantly like honest it is. Where it's just, so here's the record closer.
Oh yeah.
Still working out its intent.
Yep.
I'm not sure what I'm after, but it couldn't go left unsaid.
Yep, that was what I was looking for. You took the words right out of my mouth. It kind of shows a different side of this band, and I know that they have had piano previously in some of their songs, but it's a slow ballad. It's clean at the beginning, and then it gets epic and big with the main chorus, with the I'm still out in the rain. I could use shelter. I could use a little shelter. I'm still out in the rain. Still using that kind of formula from the first record, even with that kind of like big choruses that you can sing along to.
Yeah, and it's got that. Yeah, it is a little bit. It's almost a little bit of a return to form at the end of this album. Like this has sonically, it's very much part of this album,
right?
And it has that additional instrumentation and that little bit of extra like space. But it's back. It's kind of a back to basics kind of song for this band, where it's just like, here's what I'm feeling, and I'm gonna write a short poem about it, and I'm gonna sing that over the music that my band comes up with.
Yeah, and I mean, this song is it goes back to that, and it also goes back to Stage 4, where it was lyrically centered around Jeremy's grieving process with the loss of his mother, especially with the lines, "It's not like I wrote some lyrics detailing the exact events, some profit off the album, and most I just consider friends." Like,
yeah, that comes from like, that just continues a long history of bands kind of tearing apart the music business that they also feel compelled to be a part of.
Yeah,
that idea, some profit off the album and most I just consider friends. That's one of the things that's like, and I'm sure that both of us can kind of speak to it, that weird thing coming from like the punk and the alternative scenes, where everybody wants a little bit of a piece of that pie. Everybody wants to be working for the label, or to be the engineer, or to be the guy writing the songs and everything else. Like,
yeah,
the idea of that being your career and you making a living doing that is very, very kind of enticing. But especially people that come from this world, it's so much more like you get to that point when you're working with your friends, when you're surrounded by friends.
Yeah.
Instead of, so much of the other parts of the music business are less relationship based and so much more about, who can make the money off the album, who can get like the songwriting credit to make sure that they get a piece every time, the royalty checks come in and everything else. So it's kind of cool to have yet another song about that weird dichotomy of, I want to be making a living off of this, but I got into this because I really just wanted to play music with my friends.
Yeah, and now I'm profiting off of a tragedy, out of grieving and everything like that.
Personal tragedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the other things that is, obviously so many bands have written about that, but this band in particular has done a lot of writing about that. And it's like, it's a nice kind of like a wink and a nod to the fan base of like, Jeremy's like, yeah, I also like, it's part of my grieving process, but I also get like the weird situation that puts me in to be profiting off of talking about, personal tragedy.
Yeah. And I mean, like, whatever helps him grieve, that sucks.
Yeah.
And I think it's easy to say like, no, you shouldn't feel bad for like profiting off of it. But at the same time, like, I think it comes from a place of like it's like a genuineness. Like, it's not.
Yeah. It's not like it's part of the grieving process. And it's like, it is, I think, a healthy outlet.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with the things that he's gone through, to go and like to write music about it and to put that out there.
It's not like stuck up punk that's like, ugh, they're just profiting off of tragedy, man. Like, music industry always just, it's not like that. It's damn, am I an asshole for doing this? Is it okay?
It's that self-awareness. It's that self-awareness that we never, that we were kind of like looking for and never really found when we talked about that Machine Gun Kelly record, where it's just like, I don't know if on that record, it was a lot of, I don't know if he's being tongue-in-cheek or if he genuinely just doesn't like understand a little bit of the irony about what's going on here, as opposed to this band where you are so often on their albums, there are parts where you sit back and you're like, yeah, they know what's going on, and Jeremy's telling you right here.
Yeah, and it would be interesting to see with their next record, particularly, do they call back to this song, and do they call back to many of the other themes from this record? If I had to put money on it, I would say yeah.
Yeah, because they've really kind of built, like, you could almost see them going for like almost like a concept, like a trilogy, starting with Stage 4 and then Lament, and then they could put out a third record where they kind of put like a cap on it, kind of similar to what Pianos Become the Teeth did, where that first like huge Pianos Become the Teeth record, the Lack Long After, was all about like Kyle Durfee from that band basically just wrote an entire record about how he lost his dad. And then the second album, Keep You, the album after that, Keep You, was, dealing with the grieving process after losing your dad. Mm-hmm. And then the third album, Wait for Love, had a lot to do about like getting married and having his kid and seeing his father's like tendencies in himself and in his kid, but learning to move on and like be a father himself. Like there's a concept there that I could very easily see this band kind of do with their next album and just kind of round out the trilogy, which I think would be kind of cool.
That would be cool to see. And this song kind of like is a good way to wrap it up.
Yeah, both for the album and for us.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah. Nope, good band. Great career, and really interesting career for like a band that was, when they first came out, they were, like we said at the top of this, like they were part of the wave. They were part of that emo revival, like screamo revival kind of batch of bands. And I think of all of them, they've definitely taken the most risks and had the most interesting kind of changes. And comparing, album number 1 to the album that came out, whatever it was, a month ago, 2 months ago.
Yeah, like a month ago.
Like this is, you can really see where they kind of go and where they've gone so far, and how they just kind of continue to slowly open up more and more avenues for different songwriting structures and different instrumentation and stuff like that. Like, yeah, this band is sick.
They're always good, and look forward to hearing from them more.
Cool.
All right, let's do some recommendations.
I've got mine ready. How about you?
I got mine ready too.
All right, I've tweeted about it, I've Instagrammed about it, but I've waited, and now we're talking about hardcore music, so it's time. A few old members of the band Vanna, a metalcore band from Boston that went through lineup changes basically every time they put out a new release. The 2007 lineup, I believe, has gotten back together under the name In Spirit. They have put out their first single, Fold, which is available on all of your streaming platforms and everything else. It is heavy, it is riffy, and I mean, besides the fact that it just takes me right back to listening to that band during that era, this could have really easily been like a weird, like cringy nostalgia project.
Yeah.
Just like, because those guys are getting up there. They're getting pretty old, and they've gone in so many different directions and kind of exhausted so much of what you would think a metalcore band can do. Mm-hmm. So for them to put out basically a return to form song and to have it just slap is it's pretty impressive. So go listen to Fold by In Spirit and keep an eye out for their EP, which they have not announced release dates yet, but it is in the works, and I'm sure it will be good.
I haven't checked that out yet, but I'm going to have to. That'll probably be something I do after this.
It's tight.
So my recommendation is Give Me Money for Movember. So
Give Me Money.
No, okay. So I currently shaved my beard, and I have sporting a mustache to help raise money for Movember. The point of Movember is to raise money for men's health organizations. So it's for mental health, it's for prostate, and also testicular cancer. There's a couple, I have my link to donate in my, damn, I'm blanking. I'm like half asleep right now. I guess it's
oh man, it's been a minute since I willingly stayed up until 3 a.m, and I'm feeling it today. I am an old man.
I am like exhausted. So excuse my lack of enthusiasm and my like just stopping in middle of sentences. But there's they're for benefiting men's health organizations, and there's a lot of problems with men's health, especially a lot of things that are preventable in men who don't go to like the doctor and everything like that. So this is to help those people. And if you want to participate, you can also grow a mustache and raise awareness as well for it. I would recommend.
We've got the links to your donation page and everything, pretty much on all the social media, Instagram and Twitter at PackYouRunPod. We'll be posting about it there as the month goes on our personal social media.
Yes,
been hyping that up a lot.
But that's all we got this week. Like us on social media, check us out. It's Pack Your Run Pod at both Twitter and Instagram. Like us, rate us on your podcast platforms.
And tell your friends about us. We're always looking to reach new people. We like doing this week after week. It's a good time. Hopefully it's a good time for you guys. And we'd like to think that we're putting out a decent product, so help you boys out.
Yeah.
We want to, we don't make any money on this now. It would be nice if we eventually got to the point where we were seeing, where we felt comfortable throwing some ads at you guys and getting some sponsors. One of us eventually is just going to have to call the CEO of the Boston Beer Company and tell him that, we've been promoting his product for long enough. He owes us money on the back end now.
Yeah, we deserve that.
How do you not sponsor a podcast called The Packy Run?
That is true.
I want free Sam Adams or free Narragansett.
What about free Harpoon?
I mean, I'll take free Harpoon too. Any of the Boston beer companies, please sponsor us. Give us free beer. I'll take a sponsorship from Miller High Life, but it's basically free anyway. It's $4.50 for a 6-pack. It's nothing, but still.
That's true.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you next week.
Take it easy.
Go Pats.